What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thank you for joining. I just started my show with what is good like months back, and I just kept doing it. I guess I'm a creature of habit. But right now, we are in a bad habit in our country, and the habit is just arguing back and forth. Envision a household with a mother and a father who are married, they've got children, and they're always arguing. Both of them are culpable for the harm that environment causes to children. I'm going to show an example here of what I mean by that. Tyra Banks is producing a show about teen drag performers despite recent backlash. And the trailer is causing more arguments between the parents because we don't share enough we don't have enough trust. We don't share enough moral foundation to have a relationship. So anytime something comes out, we don't trust it's with good intent. And if somebody says they don't trust it, they're called a bigot. And then the other side's like, okay, if I'm going to be a bigot, then I'm going to own being a bigot. And then it just escalates from there. And nobody de-escalates from there. I want to see if we can have a real discussion here. If you don't know, Tyra Banks is producing a new Discovery Plus show about teen queens, drag queens, that is, titled Generation Drag. The series will explore the colorful, creative world of teenage drag shows. I'm for liberty. So you can argue that maybe this should be illegal, but I don't think it is. And it's kind of going down that cuties route where you can see there's court cases. So that the court system will have to decide. But assuming that this is legal, you don't have to watch, number one. But you can speak out and say whether you're happy or not. You can cancel your Discover Plus or not. That's your choice. When you say teens, what we're looking at here, based on this article, this is the Daily Beast. It says, watch a bunch of ninth graders do a better job of applying makeup than most fully grown adults when all 6 episodes of Generation Drag drops on June 1. My first thought when I see this is my heart and best wishes are out to the children involved. They said ninth graders. So these are not adults. They're not even, in my opinion, close to being adults, fully formed adults, 18 plus. There's a long way to go from where they are to 18 years old. So my first thought is, I'm just hoping that they are okay psychologically, mentally, and if putting on makeup is what they like to do, fine. I used to like to play with my dad, and I used to play with these train sets. You would put the little tracks together. It would run on electricity. All the tracks had to touch. Good times. We had it underneath a ping pong table. Never forget it. We had the trees and all that. My point is, you can be into whatever you want to be into. I have no problem with that. Here's the question that people have, and here's what I brought up. When you talk about drag, is this a fair question to ask or statement to make? When you talk about drag to me is hyper-sexualized gesticulations and movements to imitate stereotypes of a particular gender, and it's usually women. So when you say drag, to me, just the term drag is associated with adult behavior to me. So that's the question. It's no different than the cuties. You have children underage doing sexualized acts. Is that appropriate? It's just a question. There's no right or wrong. It's just a question. And the other question I have is, are these children being exploited? That's the concern I would have if I were the parents involved. Now, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And especially with the way the world is right now, because we're seeing a lot of this. I just saw it was Fruity Loops, I believe, or something, doing, pronouns on the cereal box and all kinds of stuff like that. That's their prerogative. But my point is, raising kids in this environment, we're going to see more people, which I'm not saying it's bad. It's good or bad. You're going to see more people enter into this realm that who knows if they would have or would not have. Who knows if it's healthier or not healthier, if they would have gone into this LGBTQ route. So I'm fully mentally prepared that my kids could go that route, and I'm going to love them as much as possible. It doesn't matter. They're still my sons. And in this case, I'm going to show a clip from a transgendered young lady. That's now your daughter. Of how she identifies. So that can very much happen, and I'm going to love my kids regardless, period. So my thought is that's the first thing that I should think about. And if you do care about that, then here's why I ask, is this exploitation? Because there was a clip in the trailer for this Generation Drag that actually I thought it was a great kind of like a documentary style, and that's what it is basically, but an interesting, eye-opening moment of seriousness. And I'll play this clip here right now.
What do you think of taking those photos down? The constant reminder that I had to pretend I was a boy.
So that's a transgendered girl, and she's telling her parents at dinner, there's a picture on the wall of me when I was pretending to be a boy, obviously hurtful to her. And that's like a real life moment. My point of bringing it up is, I don't think anybody who's railing against this, I don't want to argue. I'm just bringing up points like, I'm beyond arguing over this. Is this right or wrong? Like if you want to watch it, you think it's right, great. If you don't, you don't. It's just up to you. For me personally, it's not something that I would watch because the drag is a connotation that has no place with children. But this clip right here, that's not drag. So my point is, that's a quality clip. And if the whole documentary was about things like that in their lives that made them relatable, and it was just, they had funny stuff too and all that kind of thing, and then maybe even show some children or families going through it where it didn't work out, like you're showing both sides of it in just a honest documentary, I don't think anybody would have really railed against it. But you know what else would have happened? It probably wouldn't be trending. It probably wouldn't be shared. It wouldn't get the reaction. Because right now you either have to get an A or an F. So Tyra Banks is behind this. I think she's the executive producer. Whoever the executive producer is, that's who puts up the money typically. So if you think about, you put up money for this show and someone pitches it to you and it's all heartwarming, relatable, maybe moments that could even bring us together. Like that moment to me is a realistic one, especially if you show positives and negatives and have a real depiction without the drag stuff. Say somebody brings that to you and you're the executive producer and you're thinking about it, like, how am I going to make my money back? Even with the drag, it might not, but that's too dry. So they might say, you know what? If we follow teens who are doing drag, that's going to upset certain people. And it's going to rally certain people, very similar to the Don't Say Gay. And a rally, who talks about a bill in Florida? Like nobody, I don't remember a time in our life where we were arguing a bill in Florida. It's because of the subject matter. So if you just stick to the seriousness, that doesn't amp up the extremists. So I don't know if that happened, but I'm just throwing it out there that when you put the drag to the children, that's the shares, that's the likes, that's why I'm doing the video. And to me, if that's part of it, who knows if it is or not, that's exploitation. So I would just be, I don't know what that means. I'll just be careful of it. I'm not a fan of it. Child exploit. So think about it. These are ninth graders. We know ninth graders when they have their school parties and stuff like that and dances, you're figuring things out. You remember when you were in ninth grade? You're figuring things out, dancing. You want to do a little slow dance? I remember the slow dance. You remember the slow dances? And, you try to figure out, okay, how does this feel? Oh, I like this. I kind of like the slow dancing. I wasn't a good dancer. So I'm still not a good dancer. But, slow dance, all you got to do is a little bit, just a little something. And then sometimes your hands go a little bit, just exploring. Nothing, no harm. That's kids. But so what they're doing when they're dancing and all that, that's just kids. I got it. But the thing is when you put it on TV, the school dance shouldn't be recorded and put on TV. That's inappropriate, right? So I think that's where the line is. Hopefully we can have a respectful discussion. I hate that when you try to have a discussion about these matters, I think you have to lead with love to let people know. Maybe it doesn't come across that to you, but I'm trying to lead with love. Period. That's got to be first and foremost. If it doesn't feel like that, please turn off the video. Please give me the feedback. That ain't what I'm about. MattWalsh has this book called Johnny and the Walrus, I believe it is. And there are people who, it's kind of like I don't want to call it an anti-trans book, but it's kind of like saying like, hey, Johnny's a walrus and that's what he should be, I think. I haven't read it, but that's the point of the book. And it got people upset. And the point I'm bringing that up is, and, MattWalsh has this exterior like, oh, I got them upset. He's not mad about it. He's happy, kind of, I'm happy about it. Look how I got these people mad. I think that's just a phony exterior. I'm not buying it, Matt. And I like MattWalsh, don't get me wrong. But, he obviously, his approach is different than mine. And when Matt does a school book like that, I think it's legit. If something, though, that I produced created that reaction to somebody, then I wouldn't want to be a part of it. And this is why I think this is my feedback, because I like MattWalsh, but what happened is Amazon leadership held a session for employees dealing with the trauma of MattWalsh's book, becoming the bestseller and dealing with his trolling. Basically, they treat the book as a troll. I don't know. I'm not saying they're right or wrong, but they view the book as a troll against the trans identity. And let me play some of the feedback that came off of this, and I'll get to my point.
To report a book that you are selling, I just checked your website, and the book is still up on there. I hate to tell you, but it says that the book that it is shipped and sold from you, it is by MattWalsh. It is teaching kids to bully transgenders. Yeah, to bully them into committing suicide, the LGBTQIA, especially transgenders. The story is about a kid who likes to pretend he's different things, and one day he pretends he's a walrus, and the community tells him he either has to be a human or he has to be a walrus, or they're going to kill him. He can't be both. He can't pretend anymore. Now, the author, MattWalsh, just tweeted this yesterday morning at 8:04 a.m. I now have the #1 anti-LGBT book in the country. Any further criticism of me or my book is homophobic. Checkmate. You are selling a manual to how to teach kids to bully other kids to commit suicide. She said she was going to get the book stripped off of your site. Now he is bragging that he has the #1 book. You are still going to continue to sell it. And now he's bragging and that he's glad it's going to make the LGBTQIA kids, especially transgenders, commit suicide.
So I don't want to argue the merits of because the customer is always right. So the customer has feedback. I'm not going to argue with their feedback. My point is, this is an example of what I said by what I mean by both sides are in the marriage arguing, and the children are the ones that get hurt. And when I say children, I'm just talking about children in general in our country. They see us arguing. They know what's happening, especially ninth graders and such. Matt, this is the tweet that she was talking about. This is exactly, he said, I now have the #1 LGBT book in the country. Any further criticism of me or my book is now homophobic. Checkmate. I don't like that. I don't like that, Matt. And I said he can do what he wants. I still like Matt overall, but I will criticize say my opinion when it's needed. I don't like that. What's the purpose of that? See, what we've gotten to is a relationship where we're just arguing. We don't care about each other. We don't trust each other. And the left has to take ownership of this too. When you call everybody racist, when you call everybody a bigot, then at some point, I'm even like, you call me a right winger. I'm like, wait, what does that even mean? How am I a right winger? Like, you don't even know me to even label me like that. At some point, you don't care. So I think Matt Walsh is playing to the audience of, and I like Matt Walsh. I like Daily Wire is doing great things, but he's playing to the audience of a lot of people don't care anymore. So if you keep calling somebody a bigot instead of trying to say, I'm coming with love, how can I understand where you're coming from and we can work together? At some point, people will be like, I don't care. I did this troll book and I'm the number one book. I'm going to do it just like a little kid. That tweet from Matt Walsh is just like a little kid. This is what you do, so I'm going to do it too. And that's where we are. I said, it hurts to see we're in such a contentious place as a country. It would hurt me if someone had that reaction to something I produced. I don't care who's right or wrong. No one's right or wrong. This is all opinion. So if I have this video, I do want to challenge thoughts. I do want to make people think. I want to think. I want you to challenge me. But I don't want a parent to watch a video and say, hey, you did this tweet that was that insensitive. Come, Matt, well, that's terrible, man. I don't care. It's easy for me to say now, but I don't care if you pay me $10 million a year. I'm not doing that. I can't look at my work and see people pissed off at it, whether it's right or wrong, and be proud of it. It's just not for me. Let me show another example of where I think the lack of trust is hurting the discussion. This video was posted by Libs of TikTok, and I don't think there's a problem with this video. So a lot of the videos that Libs of TikTok posts, I see problems with them. Like things where they're not with the people in them, just what they did. I think they have good hearts, but they cross the line. This one I don't think crossed the line. Let me play it.
I work at a preschool, and I have just the story from today. One of the little girls was asking a little boy, "Why do you wear fingernail polish?" And I responded, "Boys can wear fingernail polish. It's not just a girl thing. Anybody can wear it." And I could tell she was confused because she wanted to say, but. I love taking every opportunity to break down the stereotype and empower all genders, not just boys and girls, but they and them, non-binary, all of the above.
The reason why I say that does not cross the line to me is because the line for me is very clear. And that's the criticism I have for DeSantis, which I think DeSantis is great overall. But we haven't drawn a clear line. The clear line for me is when you teach in a class, are you teaching opinion as if it is fact? That's the clear line for me. I can only speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for anybody else. That's the only line there is for me. So this video, let me go through it real quick again, just the beginning part of it. She said she basically said boys can paint their fingernails. Let me play that again.
"Why do you wear fingernail polish?" And I responded, "Boys can wear fingernail polish. It's not just a girl thing. Anybody can wear it."
So boys can wear fingernail polish. Anyone can do it. That's not teaching an opinion as if it's fact. I don't have a problem with that. And if you do, then you are going down the line of legitimizing the criticism of the bill that says that they said don't say, this isn't Florida, but I'm just saying the don't say gay. No, it was not. That's not what it is. So for her to say boys can paint their nails if they want to, that's absolutely true. Where she could have crossed the line to me if she said boys who paint their nails, they're more courageous. Or even if she just said they're courageous, they're stunning and brave, they're to be celebrated. I think higher of them than somebody else. I think highly of them. Even that would have been crossing the line. Because now you're not saying anyone can do it. You're saying you're encouraging it. You're saying it's better if you do it. And it's easy to cross that line. And here's the thing. This is why I said we need to update the Constitution. How do you police that? Nobody's in the classroom. I'm not for cameras in there. I'm not for cameras and recording in the classroom at all. Here's another example of crossing the line. So that video to me didn't cross the line. At the end, she started talking about non-binary and using other pronouns. To me, if you force, so it's almost like a nickname to me. This person likes to be called Bob instead of Robert. And wouldn't you want the teacher to say, hey, if somebody wants to be called Bob, let's call them Bob. I think as long as it's not made up pronouns, like real, like in the English language, or I don't know how to decide all that, but I'm not saying you can't be called Optimus Prime. Like we got to draw a line somewhere. Like you can't be called Scorpion or, Magneto or whatever you want to be called. That's just stupid. If you don't draw a line somewhere, then someone's going to test the line and cross it. Oh, we're making up pronouns. Like I'm just saying, I'm talking about the made up ones. So if you say, hey, this person likes to be called this pronoun, and I think it would be nice if we respected that. That is not crossing the line. That's not teaching opinion, it's fact. And if you said this person views themselves as non-binary, here's what it is. People, you can't hide your kids from this. That's the world. That's where we are now. You don't get to control where we are, obviously. So it's not teaching that that's the right thing. It's not glorifying it. It's if you tell them this is how this person, views themselves, or me as a teacher, this is how I view myself. If you tell the kids this is how everyone should view themselves, or that now gender is fluid. That is not a fact. That is opinion. So now you've crossed the line. Do you see what I mean? I'm trying to say, let's draw a clear boundary here. This one crossed the line to me here.
Something cool about me, Miss Hammond? All right. So something that's really cool and unique about who I am is that I am transgender. So we touched a little bit about that at the beginning of this week in the book that Miss Hammond read, but I'm going to give you my explanation about what it means to be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess about whether the baby is a boy.
That is unacceptable. I did a video on this. I said I have nothing but love for this person as a fellow citizen, teacher. It looks like they're being genuine to me, just gauging their emotions and the thought they put into it. Well, I don't know what's going on with the training. We haven't as a country drawn that line. That is not acceptable. Talking about doctors make a guess when babies are born, that is not, you can believe that, but you cannot teach that as fact to children. Absolutely not.
Be transgender as well. So when babies are born, the doctor looks at them and they make a guess.
Absolutely not. And I don't want anybody fired. See, I think that's the other part of Libs of TikTok, is where there's people putting pressure to get people fired. Maybe I don't know about that part of it. No, I want us to talk and learn and see, do you agree or not? What's the argument? That's the bound. You see the clear boundary here? The boundary isn't him telling the class, I view myself as, I don't know how, I don't want to put words in his mouth. I haven't watched a video in a week or so. But, say hypothetically a teacher says, I was born a woman, or however they want to say it, and I identify as a man right now. That's fine. That's just telling them how you feel. If you cross the line to opinion as fact, that's unconstitutional. That's religion. And we are we're beyond the gray area. So let me know what you think about that. I'm going to end with this. And I hate to end on a sour note, but I think we need to be honest about this. I'm just stating my case. I'm not in the mood to argue anymore. Elon Musk is trying to basically save the world right now. I think he's trying to save the United States, and I don't think he's doing the right thing. He might sound crazy. He says, but I'm no fan of the far right either. Let's have less hate and more love. What is the far right, Elon? Like, it just isn't. I know I use those terms too, but it's just, what are we doing, Elon? We are in mutually exclusive camps right now, and there is no coming back together. And even just months ago, I probably would have thought there's a chance. We are a glass that has fallen on concrete and broken. You can't super glue it back together. It's not going to work. the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back. So I don't know. I'm not going to keep reiterating what my answer is. I've already stated that. I don't want to keep reiterating it. Here's my question. Elon, we're in a relationship where the fighting has gone too much. We can't stop this. We can't fix this realistically. So what's the path forward from here? Let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Take care.